Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back at it.
Yes.
We are back. Happy Monday.
For sure.
Somebody got to do it.
For sure.
True.
Somebody got to do it.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody.
Yeah, for sure, man. So much going on in the world right now. Happy Thanksgiving in advance.
Yes.
Everybody that's out there.
Yes.
Safe travels. A lot of people traveling this week. And
Yes.
we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
We got a special presentation from Ian. We're trading and investing. Haven't done that in a while.
And
so
for a treat.
we're going to talk about crypto. And we got our Black Friday surprise that we're going to roll out in a little bit. But first and foremost, I want to welcome everybody back to Market Mondays. I want to say thank you to EYL University chapters that had their National Day of Give Back.
Yes.
Over the weekend.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It was. You want to give some detail?
Yeah. Shout out to everybody. It's one of those things, man. During the times of the holidays, it's always important to give back. And as a community, as a regional groups on the side, we said, let's figure out how we can do this unified. And so shout out to everybody in Detroit, shout out to everybody in Atlanta, everybody throughout the United States that decided to give backs, giving out food, giving out supplies for those in need. I know we got one that's happened today. So shout out to everybody and all the organizers, the regional chapters that had we actually popped up at our local at Atlanta one and met with the people. So yeah, man, giving back is important to us. And so shout out to everybody that took part in it. You should too. And shout out to Dykeman. Shout out to everybody that was on Dykeman too, giving back as well. We was out there representing, giving back to our communities, man. That's important.
That's incredible.
That's a fact. So yeah, shout out to
hey, y'all pages clip that up too.
Shout out to all the EYL University chapters out there. Everybody putting in the work, volunteering their time. Art Basel, we are back live in the flesh, December 5th. This is our 4th year. You know, we've done some magical moments in Art Basel. We had Ian at Art Basel before. We had Shine. We had DJ Khaled. We've had Pusha T perform. We had Fat Joe talk and perform. We had Just Blaze, DJ.
Crazy set.
Art Basel has become a cultural moment for us, partnering with United Masters and the good folks at Ally. And this is our pitch competition. This is the end of it. So we're going to announce the winner, the $50,000 pitch competition. And we're going to have some dope convos. Stout, he's going to be there. We're going to have some musical performances. Going to be a vibe.
Few surprises.
So December 5th, this is free, 100% free, but space is limited. So if you're in Miami, December 5th, we're kicking off Art Basel, the beginning of Art Basel. Go to our website right now and RSVP is at the top of our website. It's right there for you. Free event. But you must RSVP to attend. Space is limited. Miami, Florida. Like I said, we always have good vibes at Art Basel.
AB.
Shout out to Miami. Facts. And shout out to my brother Chris Gotti too, man. I went to the Clash Pro League yesterday. It was a very dope situation. They got they actually created a professional league for street ball players, and it's pretty dope what they got.
It's a great idea.
On. Yeah. So shout out to Chris and shout out to the whole Clash Pro League. Ian, any announcements?
If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Let's have an amazing show. And I know some of y'all missed out on the crypto run, the tech run. Where have you been the last 4 years? I'm sorry. As of December, after I leave Miami with them, phone off. Sorry, getting ready for 2025. Love y'all.
Love. Disclaimer?
Yeah, y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. This is a message brought to you by the good brothers at Earn Your Leisure and the good brother Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Y'all know how this works. Continue to do the research. Shout out to everybody that's doing the research. Shout out to everybody that pulled up to our class on Thursday, everybody in EYL University, and back to the regional groups. Big shout out to Ashanti and Lakatra for helping organize that day of give back. I don't want to forget to mention them. Shout out to them. And shout out to Mercedes inside of EYLU too. It's her birthday today. Shout out to Mercedes.
Happy birthday.
And our good brother, Jay Goodwin.
Oh, his birthday?
Yeah. Shout out to Crew Love. Shout out to Crew Love. Crew Love, my brother. Happy birthday.
Love,
Keep doing the research, y'all. Let's win. Let's make some money.
One quick announcement.
Yeah,
Stock Club call is after Market Mondays going forward for the next year. So we're not doing Wednesdays anymore. We're doing Monday right after the show. So get on Zoom, streamline this thing, and then if you're in Art Basel in Miami, let's have a time.
It's gonna be a good week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week.
Make sure I pull up.
All right. Okay. So let's get to it. Let's start off. Let's actually start off. Let's not even waste any time. I know people have been anticipating your presentation, and I want to make sure that we have enough, time to really digest and take all this information in, because I know you've worked extremely hard on this. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So let's get to this right away. Actually, we can start the program off with
Okay.
legendary presentation.
Yeah.
Ian has not done this in a while. So let's cue it up.
It's been a while since I've done one of these. So tonight I want to go through the top things I want you guys to focus on for 2025 through 2029. For those of you who have been here since the beginning of the journey, I appreciate you, love you dearly. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. But I will say it is time for us to elevate and take things to a new level. So as we begin to go into the holiday season, and as you guys begin to plan your 2025, I want to share a few things that I'm looking forward to for the next 5, 6, 7 years in my investing and trading journey. And I hope this helps you a lot tonight. But first, I want to start with the 5 biggest trading lessons of the year for me. Number 1, it doesn't matter how often you win if one loss has the power to wipe away all of your gains. And a lot of times what I see when I have conversations with you guys, you're like, hey, I had 3 or 4 great trades. SMCI went well. My NASDAQ futures trades went well. And then I asked risk to reward. And you're like, well, I'm risking $10,000 to make 30. But I'm like, well, if you have one trade and you move your stop and you lose 40 grand, you gave away all of your gains and your confidence. So the most important thing, more important than that, and I meant to post this the other day, but truth be told, indicators are not as important as your risk to reward. A lot of people think that the indicators matter more, but they truly don't. Number 2, it's really important not to put your stop loss in a place where they're actively liquidated. I've told you guys over the last 2 years, especially in Red Panda, I think it's really important at the top of the day to look for the high and low of the day. If you're looking to short the market, to initially put your stop at the top of the market if you think the market is going to fall. Or if you're buying long, then I want you to put your stop at the bottom of the market so you're not getting whipped out in between some of the positions that are there. Because there is a lot of stop hunting that is taking place, and often some of you are seeing if you wait to put that stop on, or you put it at the high and low of the market, depending on what direction you're going, the trades work out a lot better for you. Number 3, go heaviest in the trades that you have the most conviction in. So last year, if you're on the option side, it could have been NVIDIA that you put more contracts in. On certain days in the market, when NASDAQ was falling apart or when the bond market was falling apart, the night of the election, the days that you have the most conviction in trades where you know the market is going precipitously in one way, one direction for a long period of time, you need to put more capital in. Those days, nights, and scenarios are going to be the trades that allow you to make 3, 4, 5, 6 months worth of income in one trade if you hold for your longer target. Going back to short target and long target, but when you have that big conviction, you have to play that trade out for a long period of time. Michael Saylor's is an example with this with Bitcoin. We've seen it before with Tesla and Bitcoin being paired by Cathie Wood. You have to pick the trades in which you have a lot of conviction in and don't move out of those positions and go heavy on those trades. I know some of you are going to ask what percentage. That depends on your particular circumstance, but depending on how convinced I am in the trade, I'll do 25 to 50% of capital in a trade if I know it's going to go one certain direction. Number 4, you have to discover the weakness in other strategies and turn that into an asset for you. One of my favorite things, and I can tie this into number 5 as well, is going through TradingView, Thinkorswim, and looking at every indicator that is on the chart and then turn it around and seeing where would a trader enter exit, where would they get stopped out, and use that to my advantage. So let's say hypothetically, if the stock is at 100, I want to get in at 105. If most people are using the EMA, gets in at 115. If I'm going to, let's say, leg out of a position, I will get in off of the low at 110. If the first EMA is at 115, I will sell some at 115. If I know someone is using VWAP, I know where I can anchor and take out or enter another trade there. And then I'm going to use extensions to know, okay, here's where I maximize this trade to get the most out of it. A lot of times, some of you are looking at your strategy and saying, does this work for me? Not knowing, will this trade work for you? But what are the other players on the field and in the market doing, and how are they getting in? So you have indicator-based strategies. You have time-based positions. Some traders are like, I don't even care about the indicator. I want to get direction. You have to know when they're going to exit. Some are going to use time-based exits. Some are going to use quant strategies or algorithm strategies, which we'll talk about later. But I think it's really important to know the strength of everyone's move and how to take that strength away, turn it into a weakness, and make it an asset for you. And number 6 is a bonus. Your job every day is to find an edge that no one else has discovered yet in the market. In the retail side, it's a lot easier. On the quant and algorithm side, hedge fund side is getting harder. But as more hedge funds begin to put more money into Bitcoin and other assets for a longer period of time, which sounds like a derivative of 2 Tech 2 Index, you have to find ways to be able to create an edge in a market that no one else has. For me, one of them, not the entire holy grail, but one of them is I'm going to use longer targets. I'm only going to stick to certain days. I'm only going to stick to certain assets. And I know most people are going to give away their gains over trading. So part of my strategy is to let other people blow up their account and take advantage of it, see the liquidity and order flow, and then take advantage of when to trade heavier. Most people are not doing that. The 5 biggest investment lessons of the year. Hyper concentration is where it's at. All the alpha, all the big return is in hyper concentration. It was a bunch of people who argued with me about what Buffett said about hyper concentration, and then turned around and told me how they liked Michael Saylor's Bitcoin strategy. That is hyper fucking concentration. Hyper concentration is when you take 1 to 5 assets and put the majority of your money into them there. And 2 index, 2 techs, I tell you to break up the money equally in 25% positions, and you'll be A-okay. Number 2, the evolving relationship between interest rates and valuations has an impact on a fundamental market and how valuations are framed. Number 3, focus on companies that are going to move the GDP of the country and, secondly, the world. I don't care about the 67th best company in the 5th best sector. I want to focus on the ones that are moving the needle in industry first, like NVIDIA did. If you ever built a computer, you knew how important NVIDIA was back then. That's how I first got exposure to how important they were when I got my custom computer built. Then you can see how they can impact the world, okay? Number 4, global diversification has incredible complexities and the tensions are getting stronger, which means most of the best gains are going to come from companies that are publicly traded in the United States of America. But if you can find one in India that will have a breakout run in 4 to 6 years, or one in China that will move in 6 years, you're going to be way ahead of the pack. Notice when everyone was trying to find the best options strategy, which I don't mind, my thing was, let me find a long-term equity that gives me option-like return and just like having the equity. And then I found NVIDIA, and here we are. Then if you pair that with the option trade and with futures trading, you're going to get what I deem to call hyper acceleration. And number 5, international market divergence and weakness. You have to find a performance gaps between the U.S. markets, international markets. China's continuing to struggle. India is emerging as a superpower. No one is talking about Saudi Aramco. So in the next 5 or 6 years, I fear that Saudi Aramco could be number 1. And if that does happen, what do we do for our market in terms of how we structure our portfolio and how we structure our indexes? The 3 biggest mistakes I realized this year that I've seen across the board when I talk to people all this year. Number one, as an investor, however you identify as, you need to own all asset classes. So stock guys, I want you to own crypto. Crypto guys, I want you to own stocks. Value guys, I want you to pick one altcoin. Altcoin, I want you to find a mid-tier stock, a smaller Russell 2000 stock that can outperform and add everything into your portfolio. Because the way this game is being played, if you don't, you are going to miss considerable gains when the cycle switches. I know we talk a lot about sector rotation. I hate the idea of it. But if you have exposure to stocks, crypto, altcoin, value investing, and the entire gamut of assets, you'll be A-okay. Some of you also get into real estate. It's not one or another. It is both. And these next 4 years are going to be incredibly important to do that. If you don't think so, ask BlackRock and Vanguard, who took over crypto and the housing market in one fell swoop. Number two, talking is an ultimate liability. You only need to believe in your thesis. This is my favorite lesson of the year, inspired by my mom. Talk less about everything. Cool. It's to a point now, unless I know when someone is trading at the same clip as me, I don't even want to talk about trading. I really don't. I want to believe so much in my thesis and make it manifest. I don't want to talk to anyone about it, because by the time we have the discussion and the fucking pair bonding back and forth over the conversation, I could have got 4 more ticks out of the market on my short target and then got 400 or 500 out of NASDAQ and been A-okay. Notice the Saudi Aramco family is not talking about the strategy to take over the world. The actual trillionaires in that family already. Michael Saylor, when the market was down, he was just buying like crazy. And then when the market took off, that's when he spoke, after he had victory. And number 3, time is the ultimate asset. For my entrepreneurs, investors, the point of investing is to have your capital work to you so you can find more ways to create more capital and have that work for you. You don't want to be a slave for your money. You don't want to be a slave to your business. Create more time to think about what is going to come next. AI, large language models have done incredibly well. Quantum is the next forefront. These are some of the things that you need to focus on for the next 4 years. Here's a big lesson I want you guys to realize. All the typical trades are gone. When you have competition from every space, institutional, retail, hedge fund, pension fund, fund of fund, mega cap retail traders that move the market for AMC and GameStop, GME. All the typical trades are gone. The typical Christmas rally trade won't be as strong as it used to be. Some would argue the Bitcoin halving trade, because there's more market participants in it, isn't as strong as it used to be. Even since we started Sniper, the ES and ZB equities versus bond trade looks different than it did in 2021. So if all of the typical trades are gone, it is your job, homework assignment for tonight. What is the atypical trade that you're going to take that will give you a lot of leverage and a lot of bang for your buck when you're in the market? And now I want to get super technical for my graduates, for those of you that have been here, because I haven't even revealed this to Stock Club until now. But the 5 things I want you to study for 2025, and this is around algorithmic trading and investing. Okay? So number 1, if you're working on an algorithm, I want you to find a way how to overcome decay in your signal and your algorithmic trading, right? So how do you do this? And one day, maybe when we do the mastermind, and maybe one day in Stock Club, I'll break this down. But number 1, you have to find harder to access alternative data sources and data sets. The great thing about large language models and algorithms is that it can take a bunch of data that it would be really hard for us to process in Excel, and you can upload it and it will disperse the data for you. This is why a good term for you to learn tonight is dispersion models. Put it in the chat. Dispersion models. I can get into plume theory later, but you want to study dispersion models to see where certain data points land. If you have 1 million data points, what are the averages of where that data may land? Because that's going to be based on your price, where to get in and be able to get out. B, Or number 2, using more sophisticated feature engineering techniques. And number 3, you need to develop different approaches that combine hundreds or thousands of weak signals so you can ultimately take those out and only focus on the strongest signals for when to get in and when to get out. So in Stock Club, I made a prediction about MicroStrategy. Didn't want to tell the internet because I like Michael Saylor. I don't want the Bitcoin maxis to come after me. The next day, Bitcoin fell, right? Shout to you, and some of you made 40, 50% off of that the next day. I use some of this modeling in combination with my crystal ball to be able to get that number to know that we're going to pull back. Number 2, developing a microstructure model. This is going to be really key. So 3rd, you need an adaptive sampling technique based on market volatility. So based on market volatility, you need to be able to have that algorithm tell you, in these kind of markets, this is going to be the performance. This is the top of the market. This is when you need to start to edge out. This is when you need to start to leg in, meaning to buy. Okay. Number 2, you need to get really tight noise filtering techniques. When building an algorithm is going to tell you a lot of times when you should get into the market, and they are not the 3rd or 4th or 5th best time to get in. Some algorithms will give you 60 signals per day. You don't want to use all 60. You may want to use 2, maximum 4. So you need some sophisticated filtering techniques to knock out the noise in your signals. And then number 1, you definitely need a hierarchical model that operates at different frequencies and different speeds to tell you different data. I know for some, this may be super high level, but it's time we go to a higher level. Shout out 19 Keys in our investing. Really quick, hardware considerations when building your AI supercomputer, fast as possible. I like the Ryzen chip from AMD. NVIDIA chips are amazing. You really need great network optimization. For those you are trading, always be paired in a hard line versus using Wi-Fi. But then if you can afford it, GPU clusters for parallel processing will help a hell of a lot to get you an edge in a market that others don't typically have. 3rd, signal risk metrics. So number 1, you need to focus on what strategy when building your algorithm gives you the highest and lowest drawdown. Drawdown means how much money you're losing. Just because you have an automation or algorithm, it doesn't mean that it's going to give you amazing return or alpha without giving you amazing drawdown. My first focus is always, how can I lose less money when I enter this trade and or long-term investment? That's my main focus, number 1. Number 3, you need volatility targeting. So if you are looking at the bond market, NASDAQ, German DAX, crude, you need to understand and have the algorithm tell you this market is a little bit too volatile for you to edge in. On these days, you're going to have better return, ease up on the second Thursday of reporting, etc. Number 4, position size optimization. This is how many contracts are you trading your options or in your futures, right? It's really important. And a lot of times we get caught up in saying, I want to trade this size when the data says you should trade lower. Often in Red Panda, I've said whatever max size you want to trade, you can divide that by 4 if you want an easy number. But if you build an algorithm, it helps a hell of a lot for it to tell you what is my ideal position size. And this is going to be drawdown plus return plus time in market. So if you're in time and market for a short period of time and your trade wins really fast, it's low drawdown, that is a sign for what you should keep your position sizing at. And then also to how much leverage you should be using in any particular trade. 4th thing, market structure. So you have to look at the exchange evolution, the participants who are in that exchange, the participant behavior for how they trade. This is why I say for futures in particular, it's better to trade the open and the close, because if you look at the data in the midday, it's a lot of choppiness based on who's in the market. You have to study who the market makers are in your particular market. That's why I said with AMC and GameStop, those were mega cap retail traders who used to be in hedge funds moving that market. Notice how crypto took off and no one's talking about AMC and GameStop anymore because all of them went back to their crypto positions or went to then go run funds. Go on Amazon and Google anything about dark pools. One of the best returns on investment you will have is to understand how dark pools work. Some of you have asked me about order flow or level 2. Is that what I use? No, that's not what I use. But an interesting read is all the top books on dark pool dynamics to see how they affect your trading. And then scaling is most important. Number 3 probably should be number 1. And it's the reason why I lean on ES more than NASDAQ. There's a lot of liquidity in NASDAQ, but the most liquid future and has been is the S&P 500 future, the ES. Number 4, when you get your first algorithm down, it's a really fun process to then stack on multiple trades with multiple strategies using 1 or 2 contracts at a time. And when you start having some sophisticated algorithms tied together, that can also cut off your losses when things are not going in your favor. It helps your trading a hell of a lot. And number 5, going back to what I talked about earlier, finding an edge in the market, you need regular strategy tweaking or adaptation based on the market. So the market that we are in now post-election is dramatically different than the market was in February. You have to adjust. And this is why I tell everybody in Red Panda in particular, please listen. When I say focus on a short target, then a long one, when you start programming in your algo, you can't have 4 ATMs and 4 different targets because now you have minimum 16 data sets that you have to test to know what your return is going to be. A lot easier to use 2 targets and then 2 strategies to get in. You have a smaller set of data to analyze, opposed to if you're running 6 or 7 different strategies with 6 and 7 different targets, it's going to take you probably 4 or 5 more months to get to where you need to be. But what do I know? Once again, I want to remind you, all investing is global. These are lessons from John Templeton that I need to remind you of. Number 2, always take a contrarian approach. At the time when NVIDIA was the hottest thing on earth to me, it was not to others. If you ever had bought the chip and saw how it affected performance, and it did for me when I helped put the computer together and start talking to quants, the performance, a lot of times when we had a trading room, I would see the move 2 or 3 seconds faster than everyone else in the room. That gave me a competitive advantage. Be sure to make the fundamentals of the trade that you are taking are good and of the company. I know SMCI has not been kicked out of the inner circle of NVIDIA, but anytime you get to cooking the books, and then the report came out today that accounting error was found by a Macy's employee and it hit 145 million. SMCI wasn't the only company that was cooking the books, I told you, but if the fundamentals are good, I can't put my money into it. There's no need to gamble when you can get almost a guaranteed return out of indexes, top 2 or 3 tech stocks, and if you trade once or twice a week, you're A-okay and it will hit home runs there. Number 4, don't be afraid of big bets. Your car note and your mortgage payment should not be more than what you're putting into the market every month. I'm going to say it again. Your car note in combination with your mortgage should not be more than what you're putting into the market, especially if you know the company is going to be a home run. Number 5, we'll talk about it later. There's a lot of companies that could be a leader in quantum computing. They're not there yet. Wait for the leader to develop. You don't want to rush into a position unless you know for sure things are going to work well. And get away from the crowd. The less noise that is there, the stronger your thesis will be. And whenever you are in doubt, my favorite thing to do is look at a 90-year chart. No matter how much noise there is, and for every major pullback there was, and these gray lines indicate recession, the market is always recovered because the market is permanently rigged through a bunch of mechanisms to permanently stay up. Please don't forget that. And if we live in a decade of lost returns, what do? You build a base. There are some companies that may have a tough 3-4 year period. Build a base. And I want to give everyone credit in XLM, who I mentioned last year I thought would do well, but for everyone in XRP who stayed down through that 5 or 6 year struggle, it panned out and worked out incredibly well for you. And now there's some people trying to chase and it's too late. If we ever enter a scenario where, let's say, tech stocks are flat or indexes are flat, you want to build a base and hold for a 10-year period. I love y'all dearly. The top lesson I want to give you from the Dream Team that I think has been most impactful, and shout out to those of you who are now hitting 20, 40 grand in your trades, staying off social, living your life, traveling. I'll see y'all. Ooh, I'm proud. Of course, the affirmation is first. You have to know that you deserve to be rich. You deserve to be wealthy. You deserve to be free. But the freedom is tied to the execution. But pick one target that if you only took 6 or 7 of those trades in the futures market, it would change your life forever. I know some of you have endless love for the market, but endless love does not mean endless trades. I've seen people in Dream Team go from making 2 or 3 grand a couple years ago and struggling, and now hitting 20, 30, 40s when they feel like. 22 contracts, 21 contracts, 400 points on NASDAQ. Amazing, right? But it takes time. But in combination with, if you build algo with it as well, it will tell you a lot of times when you should be getting into the market and when you should be staying free. We are in the official era of automation, as I called it in 2020. The era of efficiency, largely titled AI with large language models. And I think as a trader, if you are not building some sort of algorithm to aid you in your investing and trading, it's like you are Fred Flintstone in a car, pushing the car with your feet, opposing to have push to start. I love you guys. If I made you money, can I get a hell yeah and a yes in chat? I love you guys. Over and out.
All right. There you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Got to take it to the next level.
Yeah, man.
Tactical performance.
The day ones are like, oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Tactical performance. As always, so much information, vitally important to actually, be able to provide real-time, tangible information that's digestible. So
yeah, and it sets you up, right? Like people are looking at it, like everybody's saying what they're gonna do for the new year. They got weight loss goals, they got financial goals. Here's your investment strategy. This is it.
Absolutely,
it's laid out for you.
Yeah, for sure. And the history speaks for itself as far as the rate of returns and the predictions and all of that, man. So with that being said, that leads us to something that we've never done before. Of course, it's Black Friday. So we wanted to put together something that, wanted to break the internet a little bit. So a few things that we've never done before, we're combining all of them for a joint effort as far as the Market Mondays. Now, this is only for a select few people. So a lot of times we do sales, and those sales are like for the masses of people, but we understand everything is not for everybody. This is for a select few people, right? So starting today, Friday starts today, 48 hours only. First, and there's a limited amount of slots too. I'll tell you, you'll know why.
Absolutely.
48 hours only, limited slots. So this is something that's never been done before. Lifetime access to Stock Club. Stock Club is where Ian gives you the prices for the stocks to buy, the prices for when you should sell the stocks. Like that's the ready go-to blueprint.
Yep.
Weekly calls, the videos. Like as far as we talk about price prediction is the most important part of buying a stock. It's laid out for you amongst other things. Legendary Stock Club, lifetime access. Lifetime access to EYL University. We've never done this before. EYL University, we have over probably 3,000 hours of videos, past and present. We have the Home Buyers Blueprint, Volume 1, Volume 2, walks you through every single step. We have the monthly option calls with Troy. This is when he actually goes through the portfolio, breaks down the calls, gives you the information. We have the community, the app, where people are actually sharing information within themselves on investing, on a variety of different things. We have the monthly financial planning calls. We have the resources. We talk about insurance. Lifetime access. We have the chapters where you do regional group meetings. Lifetime VIP access to InvestFest.
Jeez.
InvestFest.
Jeez.
InvestFest is
I didn't get that text. Hold up. Wait, what?
Lifetime VIP access to InvestFest. InvestFest, man. Legendary situation.
Legendary.
4 years and running, the billionaires, the biggest in the game, the 400 vendors, the musical performances, the networking. I mean, did we really have to pitch InvestFest?
Yeah.
You probably heard of it.
Maybe. Lifetime
VIP access to InvestFest. And the cherry on top, we have not done an event. Market Mondays has not done an event in almost, it'll be 2 years next year.
2 years, yeah.
We didn't do any event this year at all after the world tour that we did last year. And we have no plans on doing any event next year other than just for this consortium. We are going to be, this is very small. We're going to do a Market Mondays mastermind in the flesh. This is going to be like in a room. This isn't going to be in an arena. This is going to be in a room. Where you can actually ask questions, real-time information, going over options, going over trading, going to talk about stocks.
But over futures.
We have a special guest, Ellie, the person that has shook up the internet, one of the best episodes ever as far as technology, a genius in this space. X tore down InvestFest, tore down the live that we did when she talked about ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. She will be live in the flesh, teaching AI in the flesh. 2-day event in Atlanta, Georgia, January 31st to February 1st. We're going to have a networking soiree, the first go round, the first night, just to talk to us at dinner. We're going to, have a couple of drinks. And then the next day is all day education, stocks, futures, options, technology, networking, business strategy. We've never done a mastermind ever. For Earn Your Leisure, for Market Monday, we've never done a mastermind. We do events. We've never done a situation where we can actually talk to people in real time, get feedback, y'all ask questions. We've never done that ever. First time ever. So lifetime access to Stock Club, lifetime access to EY University, lifetime InvestFest VIP, in-person mastermind with X in Atlanta. If you can't make the in-person and you're part of the bundle, it will be live streamed. So man, there's really no excuse. Market Mondays deal.com. Market Mondays with an S, marketmondaysdeal.com. This is limited. So by Black Friday, this is a higher probability that this won't be even around anymore.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
Yeah, this is not for the arena. This is not Madison Square Garden. This is for that small consortium of people. If you can't make money with Lifetime Stock Club, Lifetime EY University, Lifetime VIP, InvestFest, and the in-person event with X and everybody else there, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult. So only for serious people, though. Only for serious people. Only for people that really, really, this is that high level. This is that high level that we've never done before. So it's not for everybody, and that's fine. But if you are serious about that next level, that master's degree.
Nah, this is
next year gonna be the 5th year. It's time to elevate.
This is PhD. You figure you got the stock price, you got the futures price, you got the options price, and you got AI, which is gonna lead the next 5 to 10 years. You got the expert inside that space. What does your 2025 look like if you're not there?
Yeah, and that's why I told you guys in the presentation, if you're not using elements of AI and large language models in your trading to analyze this data, you're going to have, because what you're not factoring in your trades is dark pool data. And when me and X and Troy and Rashad get to ask about them prompts, you might want to tune in. If you haven't seen our episode, please go to probably the greatest presentation I've seen.
The usual.
I got 30 questions.
The usual price of InvestFest VIP, lifetime VIP, is the price of the bundle.
Yep.
The usual price, the regular price of InvestFest lifetime VIP is the price of the bundle that I just named. To put things in perspective.
Yeah.
All right.
We won't be doing this again.
No. I mean, we physically can't do this again because it's we have limited tickets that we can sell to InvestFest as far as the VIP. So that we might do something, but the adding InvestFest part of it, we physically just can't do that. There's a limited amount of seats that we can actually have, right? And we can't sell every ticket. So there's there's always going to be sales pitches, but this honestly can't happen again. And there has to be a cap on how many actually people come in, even this time. So
take full advantage. If you're worried about who is in office and how your finances are going to work out, or if you have not been paying attention the last 4 years the way that you should have, it is time to give it to. A lot of you hit me about, hey, what do you think about MicroStrategy? Y'all just said, damn, Kathy Woods, huh? But if you missed out on the last year or two of gains, this would be a great way to get a jump start into the market for 2025, going through 2027 before we have a deep correction.
No, that's your life. This is the life. This is life right here.
That's crazy.
This will set you up for life.
Absolutely.
Okay. And X, man, she's
phenomenal.
Different type of person when it comes to the information and knowledge.
And good luck trying to get her to actually speak on this, right? She's done us a huge service by coming to InvestFest, came on the live and was like, yo, I love the community so much. We got to come back and do it again. So you got to take opportunity when people actually come out and speak. Because I mean, to find them
for open AI grabber, somebody I've been looking at her stories. I'm like, she is all over the country doing talks with some of the top tech companies. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Facts. All right. So now back to regularly scheduled programming. Let's talk about cryptocurrency and the economy. So first, let's really just go over crypto. I put a post up the other day on Instagram that I thought was kind of put things in perspective about some of the top cryptos. So let's go over to some of the top cryptos, their performance since Donald Trump was elected on November 5th. So it's only been a couple of weeks. But since November 5th, Bitcoin is up 30%. Ethereum is up 37%. Solana is up 34%. Dogecoin is up 57%. XRP is up 102%. And XLM is up 435%. And there's a few others like 88 and stuff like that. But okay, I will say this because this is the third time that I've actually seen this happen. In 2017, there was a crypto craze. And then during the pandemic, there was a crypto craze.
For sure.
And then now there's a crypto craze, right? So history is not an indicator of what is guaranteed to happen in the future, but it is a good fair warning, right?
Yeah, it gives you understanding.
So if history is any fair warning, the coin, look at the chart. Let's do an end classics assignment here, everybody. If you could pull up your charts, look at XLM's lifetime chart, and then look at XRP's lifetime chart, and then look at Dogecoin's lifetime chart, then look at Solana's lifetime chart, then look at Ethereum's lifetime chart, and then look at Bitcoin's lifetime chart. If you look at these charts, you noticed a few things. XLM, XRP, Dogecoin, and Solana have similar type of charts where they kind of look like this. They still haven't hit the high that they previously have, but in the grand scheme of since they've been out around, I think a lot of them came out like 2017, 2016. They've kind of moved up very high, then they've moved down, they consolidated, then they moved up, then they moved down.
Peaks and valleys.
They have not. It's not a chart that shows long-term growth. That's true with all of them. Ethereum is a little different. Ethereum has like a hybrid where it does go up, it does peak, but then it has come down, and it still has not hit its all-time high from where it was previously. The only chart that looks like something that is going up consistently has been Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is going up, down. But if you look at it, it's the only chart that has consistently hit new highs and has gone upward trajectory. So I say that to say, I'm not saying that you can't make money in altcoins, because obviously a lot of people are. But just be mindful that traditionally none of these have a proven track record of upward mobility long term. None of them. They've all gone up, came down, gone up, came down, and they still haven't reached their all-time high for where they previously was. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have a future in exploding, but Bitcoin already has proven that.
Yep.
Right. So sometimes in life you have to go with the proven player. Now, Solana, obviously, Mike Novogratz talked about that. He's a billionaire, so you got to look at that. And then Ethereum has always been, the second favorite for a lot of different people. So that's there. XRP always had a lot of potential as far as its corporate relationships and the way that it was structured, very centralized coin, and a lot of favor within the financial institutions, a lot of financial world. So you got to look at that as well. But what I'm saying is this. Don't fall into just putting money into any altcoin just because you want to just make money in the moment. That's fine. But understand a trade and an investment are different. So if you want to make money quickly, or if you want to make money, don't just think that every single altcoin is going to make you a billionaire just by putting your life savings in that, because it's a cheap opportunity to just ride the wave. This has happened already. This history has already given us two different instances where altcoins have gone up and they've come back down, and they've never gone up higher than what they previously was. So it's a word of caution.
Absolutely.
Sure, because defense wins fights, and sometimes you get in late to the party, or you just ride a wave based off of what's happening on social media, and you could lose a lot of money like that.
And also too, we have to, when I was banging this horse or banging the table about this, banging a horse is funny.
That's crazy.
Animal cruelty, PETA, no problems.
No activists, please.
But until the institutional money comes in for some of these other players, they're going to remain flat as well. I was talking about this endlessly. I thought the purpose of crypto was to be decentralized, and now it seems like most coins want institutional money so that they can drive the value of the coin up. Number two, the price at which you pay for an asset always matters. I remember when a person told me many moons ago, it doesn't matter where you buy this asset, it's always going to go up. I'm like, that's a no investing rule book ever. So if you're buying at the top, even with Doge, I put on Twitter a couple years ago, 11 cent, 13 cent. Like, once you master where to buy something, doesn't matter what it is, you're always going to be able to produce alpha or build equity into a position. But if you're just gambling because you saw it on Twitter or Discord, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. So please be very, very, very careful. And every morning now, I'm waking up, I'm like, damn, Bitcoin ain't crossed 100 yet. I think it's a psychological level that's really important.
Yeah.
And we have not pierced through that level yet. So,
yeah, we've seen this, like you said, we've seen it happen. I think the thing people need to realize is that this entire market moves when Bitcoin moves. And so Bitcoin has a catalyst. When you look at it in terms of as the hedge to inflation, right? That's what they'll say, that this is the catalyst. Yeah. But the other ones, the altcoins, there is no catalyst, right? There is no thing that's going to say, all right, we're now going to move it. Even when you hear other companies, like when we were talking about IBM and its role inside of the Stellar Lumens economy, it was like, okay, that's cool, but that didn't really move it. And so you got to watch how Bitcoin moves, and then you'll start to see the entire sector, right? When we're talking about cryptocurrency as a sector, we'll see that move. But
Bitcoin for altcoins, yeah.
Right. And then when you look at its dominance, obviously that tells a whole another story. But we've seen it after halving, right? We see the percentages run up inside of Bitcoin. And so we saw halving happen earlier this year. We saw the percentage gain. Every time there's halving, every 4 years, we spoke about this, follow the track record of when it halves and the increase in the amount of price movement when it comes to Bitcoin after halving. We see the market. What we see is toward the first quarter of the year after that, we're going to see pullbacks. Historically, you've seen pullbacks, and so like you said, you don't want to, it's the same rules apply, right? We don't want to invest in things when they're at the all-time high. But the problem is Bitcoin has higher highs and it has higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, right? So like, what does that mean? We get to 99,000, it might pull back, it might drop down to 70, right? When it comes back up, it'll climb back past over 100,000, which will be that psychological barrier. And then we will probably see, like Mike Novogratz said, we're going to see a run coming after that. The problem is with the other altcoins, they have these highs and then they have lower lows and lower lows, right? And then they never get back, kind of what you explained, never back to that all-time high. So just be mindful of that, of how this space works before you just invest. I know it sounds cool. And yes, there's opportunity to make money. And yes, people have made a lot of money and a lot of millionaires have been made. But just be mindful, right? Everybody needs to have a plan before they invest in a space. That's one of those rules. Make sure you understand the space before you invest in it, right? And this is one of those ones that's very volatile. And if you don't know, it could be very costly.
The number one thing I'm looking for since Elon is the Doge president, and Michael Saylor has become the greatest Bitcoin advocate. Who will be that for XRP, XLM, and some of the other altcoins? Like now you need a coin ambassador or institution to push this to higher highs. So I'm keeping my eyes on who is going to be the catalyst, whether it's an organization. Like, we have to be very honest, man. Going back to the money conversation, which bothers some of you, this cabinet bought the most pro-crypto government we've ever seen in history.
Well, and that's why I think you have to, it's a risk-reward ratio. You have to have exposure to altcoins because anything can happen. And if crypto does take over the world, Bitcoin does reaches $1 million, Bitcoin is not going to be the only coin. A lot of these other coins are going to rise as well. So from a risk-reward ratio, I mean, it would make sense to have altcoins, especially like, the Ethereums of the world, probably XRP and Solana. XLM was one of these countries that IBM was involved with years ago. So they had institutional backing as well. Stellar Lumens, this was 6 years ago.
7 years ago,
Dogecoin, I don't still wouldn't see a need for Dogecoin in the real world, but
Vivek may make a reason for. That's the interesting part. We're seeing politicians, like, I think Vivek is coming out with the Doge podcast, which combines government efficiency with the coin. There's early talks of that. For those of you who don't know, you may not like his political leanings, but Vivek was a good business person. Him and Elon are pretty buddy now. So if they find a good enough use case for it, it'll be installed. Software will be installed.
You think there's a personality, because we could be a government official, or it could be like Elon Musk, that's strong enough to be a catalyst outside of, obviously, Elon makes sense with Doge and what he's done in the titling. Is there another CEO that could be of a company that could be a catalyst for one of these altcoins?
I mean, I think the altcoin moves as the cryptocurrency industry moves. So I don't think the altcoins really need a champion, because it's like anything else. Like, as Bitcoin gets, people look for returns. As Bitcoin becomes higher, the rate of return is just going to be smaller. Like Mike said, like now, if it gets to 500,000, you could, quadruple your money, but that's not the same as 20 or 30x of your money. So now you start to look downstream. That's the same with stocks, or the same with real estate or anything, right? So as Bitcoin goes and cryptocurrency becomes more accepted, I think that's the champion right there. If he's appointing every single member in his cabinet on the financial side that's been pro crypto, you would assume that all cryptos would benefit from that, strong ones. But risk reward ratio, you don't want to risk too much. That was the last thing I was going to say with the risk reward ratio is that you have to have some exposure, because if it works out for you, then you're going to make money. But I mean, you do have to look at the past history. Bitcoin is going to be fine. I don't think Bitcoin.
Yeah, but also Bitcoin needed BlackRock too. It's getting left out of the tale and lore of it. But when Satoshi first created Bitcoin and wrote the code for it, the BlackRock was not factored in. What helped stabilize them was the ETF, and that's why Larry went on that massive crusade and campaign around Bitcoin, and now it's the institutional coin. Cool. Tether, tough, but Doge, XRP, XLM, some of the newer ones that are out, I can see even Microsoft getting behind one in the next 2 or 3 years.
I was actually going to go there, right? Because if you look at all the news, Michael Saylor he's going to, well, he did. We haven't heard the reports that he went to go pitch to Microsoft's board about Bitcoin strategic investment. And so that feels to me, right? Like if there's not a BlackRock, obviously we know the treasure chest that they have, but a company like Microsoft now becomes even more of a catalyst inside of it. And so you might start seeing huge mega tech companies saying, all right, that worked. Michael Saylor is pitching these, and that it worked for their board. They believed in it. Who's the next person or next company that he goes to and says, all right, here's the investment strategy that I told him. Here's how it can work for your company as well.
Well, I think the companies are good, but countries is better. So when you see El Salvador is already ahead of the trend when they were the first country to actually name Bitcoin as national.
Big facts.
Venezuela as well. And
it's worked out for them. So you're going to start to see more countries having Bitcoin as natural reserves, as tradable currency, as acknowledged currency in their country. And especially, these third world countries, that's an opportunity for them to move up quickly. So that gives it more credibility than anything. If all of these countries start to actually, just like gold, right? All of these countries have vaults of gold, and that helps stabilize the market, and it's one of the reasons why gold is never going to fall, because it's even though it's not currency is not backed by gold, it's still reserves on the highest level possible. So if that starts to be the case, it's already the case. I mean, America already owns a ton of Bitcoin, but if more countries start to really get behind it, then it truly starts to fulfill its prophecy as the new gold. Because that was always the thing. It was supposed to be the world's new gold. The gold standard has been the standard for thousands of years. So now, if this does become the new gold, and the whole world has to recognize Bitcoin as standard, then there's nothing you can do about it at that point.
The world currency, like that was just, and I'm thinking one world currency. But that, even like when I think of these El Salvador and Venezuela, you think about the GDP of those countries, and I think that's maybe is like part of the strategic plan. Is like,
absolutely,
I'm gonna go after a company that has a larger, right? Microsoft is worth more than El Salvador's GDP.
Absolutely,
worth more than Venezuela's GDP. So if you get those companies and you start to see like where are these companies starting to show up internationally? Like we've been places, and I'm like, they're here. Right.
Yes. Surprisingly, right?
Right. Like they're here too. Okay. Something's happening here. They're starting to put footprints everywhere. Watch how that translation plays, right? Because if you get big companies on board that have, what is it? They'll probably be a $4 trillion company within the next 12 to 16 months.
Yeah.
That type of investment strategic, it just raises the valuation of the entire space, but specifically Bitcoin.
No, Bitcoin's gonna go. I mean, Elon Musk brought billions of Bitcoin years ago for
Tesla.
Bitcoin is gonna go up.
Elon bought something else recently too.
There's a very slim chance
a
very slim chance that Bitcoin goes down over 10 years.
9,000 of them.
Over 10 years, Bitcoin's gonna go up. But
no, we definitely agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show we need a lot more innovation in our governments and those that are leading our economy, because they went from hating the idea of this digital cash network, go see who wrote the white paper before Satoshi, to now adopting a strategy across the board. I mean, and this is why I say everyone is your competitor. If you thought in 2015 your biggest competitor in buying Bitcoin would be Tesla, Michael Saylor, and then maybe Microsoft, you would have said I was high as hell. Now we're in everyone, and BlackRock kind of ushered this in as well with the housing market. Every business is now in the the asset hoarding business, because they're uncertain of how the economic climate is going to work out. So they're looking to every other investment vehicle to make sure that the company is stable. It's a really like, if I told you in 2009 or 2004 that Bill Gates will be promoting any currency, you would say I was idiotic at best. Now it's just, Michael's openly talking his book and nobody cares. That used to be a no-no.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
But
we'll see. But yeah, just be careful with, I think you got to have some exposure to altcoins, but in a manner that's not going to hurt you. Something that is not going to, you don't put your life savings into it, but, you might want to put some money into it. But then be careful with the other, as you go down the market cap, all of those other ones are just, that stuff you're going to get hurt on.
yeah.
So be careful with that. Outside the top 10, 5.
Yeah. I would say 4 or 5.
The same thing. Bitcoin Cash, saw this happen before. Like all of these coins, the same coin.
Litecoin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be careful.
Yeah, I'll just quickly want to give them a rundown for the halving. And so the next halving will be in 2028. Here's a percentage growth since Bitcoin started halving in 2012. The first increase since in November 28th, 2012, it went up 9,000%. Right, so it was trading at $12. It went up 9,000%. Second halving was July 6, 2016. It went up 2,900% to approximately around 19,700. That was when we saw everybody got into crypto. It went up to 20,000. Next halving was May 11th, 2020, and from there it went up 640% to around 64,000. Right, this halving that happened April 20th of this year. Right, approximately it went up 57% to where we see it now at 99,526. I think it got to 99.7 and pulled back. And so the percentages obviously are coming down because the value of Bitcoin is going up. So the next event will be in 2028. They're saying around maybe April or March of that year. And so we can see how this works. Yeah. Every 4 years, every 4 years, the value is going to increase.
March, right around the time them hedge funds start to throw in the money for the first quarter of the year too. That's interesting.
So speaking of Bitcoin, what about like MicroStrategy, who they said that they're making $500 million a day on Bitcoin. So like companies like that, would those be good to, because those are publicly traded companies, stock. So would those be good to invest in? And if so, at what price?
I think it's a good a way to invest in Bitcoin in a non-direct fashion. It's been really interesting to see the Bitcoin miners not rally as much as Bitcoin has. But yeah, I think I keep saying that Michael Saylor is the new Cathie Woods. So at some point, if y'all cared about Cathie, because she originated this Bitcoin institutional strategy, y'all should go send her a note and tell her thank you. But MicroStrategy is a good way to get some exposure to it. I know I've gotten killed about my Square take, but if you look at some of the things Square is doing, may want to keep your eyes on what Jack and them are doing. I don't know if he went and kissed the ring yet, and if he's in that inner circle, and if him and Elon are made up. But if so, Square should bounce. But they've been doing pretty well. But and I love Michael Saylor, but isn't $500 million a day like $140 billion or something like that
in a quarter? You're talking like Amazon numbers.
Did he say 500 million a day?
That's a lot.
That's Apple's doing 94 billion a year.
That's a lot.
So maybe it was 500 a month. I don't know. Well, we'll see when a report comes out. But MicroStrategy is a good way to get exposure to Bitcoin if you can't afford it at 90-something thousand per coin, for sure.
Yeah, we talked about some ETFs if you're not in Bitcoin, obviously with BlackRock over the past year, and they've done an Ethereum one as well. But yeah, when I started looking at the economy that goes around Bitcoin, obviously you've seen what Coin has done, Coinbase, which is publicly traded. MicroStrategy has just been incredible. But Square, like I said, man, and we had this conversation a little earlier, but if you watch what it's doing, right, this is still a fintech company, but their commitment that they made in 2020, which at the time, even Jack Dorsey apologized for, he said, like, we're not going to continue doing this. Their commitment into Bitcoin is now starting to pay off. And it's not because they're selling Bitcoin or they're trading it. It's actually because they actually sell the equipment for firms that mine it.
Yeah.
So this is another business that's being built around the economy of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically, which is interesting because it plays a part in the AI development too, which is
absolutely,
we don't even look at it, right? At the time, we were trying to figure out when we're mining Bitcoin, how can we do it faster? What are the semiconductors that can help us do it? Those semiconductors now turn into what we're going to be used to now used for artificial intelligence, right? So when we're talking about the nanometer chips, we're talking about 5, we're talking about 3. So Square has actually created the 3 nanometer mining chip for Bitcoin. And I think everybody needs to pay attention to that because that's what's going to be used very shortly. I think they created it in April of last year, but it's starting to be deployed now. And the largest Bitcoin miner, which is CORZ, Core Scientific, they're using it exclusively. And so when we're watching Square, this is not just a fintech company now, right? They've changed their name to Block because of the blockchain, but we're starting to see the impact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency specifically is having inside of his business. They're not just relying on, hey, we were a fintech company. No, cryptocurrency has its fingerprints all over this company. And if you look at this chart, and I said this the other night, there's something interesting happened over there. We're going to watch this and study this even more closely over the next couple of months.
It's crazy to change your name to Block and get blocked out the cryptocurrency industry because Elon mad at you.
Yeah,
them tech bro wars are really interesting.
Beat down. He actually came out and apologized. So now to see a year later, hey, we're going to cut back on, I think they were trying to do Web 5. They were like trying to be so far ahead and like, all right, let's just focus on this because this is promising. We have something here.
Yeah, I do like the one thing I do love about MicroStrategy's strategy, though, at least he's putting his money where his mouth is and investing heavily into it. I know Citron had the report that came out. It was interesting to see his reply. I can't wait to the reporting because I know they had some profit margin issues prior to, but I'm looking to see when this report comes out what the profit margin looks like as well. But everyone's just really redoing the Vanguard strategy. Like this Bitcoin buy Bitcoin strategy on the institutional side reminds me of Bogle's ETF and index fund strategy, just at a different sector, which has worked incredibly well for Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street. And so we are in a currency and capital war from the titans of business right now. Everybody on earth is your competition.
And there's multiple ways to invest into a space. I think if you learn nothing, right, you might look at say, hey, Bitcoin is 99,000. Am I too late? No, you can still be in the space. Obviously, I think what you said is important.
Find another asset.
Find another asset that is actually benefiting from this surge.
Yeah.
What about trailing stops losses?
Yeah, this is a great question. And for my traders, please listen up. For those of you who want to know how tightly should I trail my stops, the thing that's not talked about enough is stop hunting and liquidity hunting. I think once you get up maybe 15%, maybe lock in 2% and let it run. But you want to trail every 2 or 3%, you're going to get whipped out of a big move. Like imagine if after you bought Bitcoin at 42,000, you then put a stop every 10% and went up, you would trail by 1%. You would have lost out on 60% of gains. So once again, I always say it have a short target and a long target, but using the trail and stop consistently, I think is one of the biggest mistakes you'll end up making because you're going to cut your profits short. Take a sample size of 90 trades with a trail and stop in practice, do 90 without, you'll see that the data, you're going to get a way higher return on not having the trail and stop for sure.
Okay. What about
and I'm going to say this, you're going into year 5. When we say the advice, apply it the first time. They just told me about the little extra thing from VIP InvestFest. They not tell me when they're leaving to Ghana. But seeing the quality footage that came from that hard interview, maybe soon. I was like, oh, it's a raptor?
Shout out to everybody
Listen,
in
put it in the chat. Listen the first time. Now's not the time to repeat a bunch of stuff 100 times. Don't use the trailing stop frequently because it's going to probably cut your profitability in half, up to a third. And all my traders know this. You ever got into a move long and it may have pulled back for 2 to 8 minutes and then it takes off in your favor and runs up all day, but you had that tight ass stop loss. So one of the things that I probably should have talked about more too, having too tight of a stop loss is just as bad as getting the direction wrong. You have to let your trades bake. Like imagine putting a cake in the oven and every 2 minutes you're opening it to see if it's fit. Like give it time. Let it cook.
Time is important. We just talked about thetas and time decay. Use time as a trading tool. I always talk about that. It's an asset that you have to use, right? Because
that's one of the worst feelings in the world, to like short a stock or a future and it tanks all day, but you got whipped out early and now you can't find another place to get in.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. There's some calls that are like right now, I'm in till 2027 and people are like, well, we're down 3%. I'm like, do you realize we're still in the year 2024?
Hold.
Set your stop loss, whatever it is, and options not telling between 30 to 40%, depending on the company. And just relax. You set it, don't forget it, but just set it, right? So you have that peace of mind saying, all right, well, we're going to be patient with this, and time is going to be in our favor.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about Netflix?
I know the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight is going to get a lot of credit for Netflix doing well. And it had a small part to play. Going back to the password crack being cracked down upon, that helped a hell of a lot. But I think they're just operating at a very high level. It's interesting to see the NFL now take on the NBA for that Christmas Day viewership.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, we get a Beyonce halftime performance on Christmas Day. For everyone who's wondering, this is the real home run. Like the Jake Paul fight, that was a test. Now the streaming was a little bit glitchy. It won't be when Queen Bee gets on stage. I promise you that. So I think some of the future forecasting, because if the Jake Paul fight had 60-something million people watch it, you could assume at least 40 million people will probably watch that game on that Sunday. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start having some upsells or bundles that they add in the next year to increase their profit margin. So if you look at that media landscape, to me, there's only 2 or 3. There's Apple, YouTube, and Netflix. And if you're looking at like streaming, they're the ones who really made streaming incredibly popular. So companies being ran incredibly well. Profit margins are getting better. They saved a lot of money or brought a lot of money in by cracking down on the password sharing, which became like a mandatory innovation for everybody in that space. And they're the leader in that streaming space. Like Netflix is TV. YouTube is TV. Time Warner, Comcast, Xfinity. I don't know. You got to figure something out.
Comcast they're trying to split the companies up. I think you nailed it. When you look at the Jake Paul thing happened just last week, right? And so we saw some growth there, but Netflix has been on the tear. Over the past year, they've revenue has grown over $10 billion, which is a 41% increase, right? We're talking about 41% increase for a company that's absolutely ridiculous. The crackdown on the passcode sharing has only helped to have new subscribers, right? So the person who you used to share your code with can't be part of it anymore. They've added 5.1 million new subscribers, which brought them to nearly 283 million globally. What that means is that there's more eyes. And when you have more eyes, you can do something that you didn't mention, but I'm sure you will recognize is that the growth in the ad revenue.
Insane. Yeah.
Right. So when you have people that can now have the ad tier base at a lower price point, whether it's $5.99 or $6.99, companies now can pour in. Now imagine when they have the next event, which will be the Super Bowl, how many commercials will be happening?
What are those ads going for?
Nobody's talking about that ad money, but we see the Super Bowl is sold out already. But what is the Christmas Day game now? What are those ads now that you know that Beyonce's performing, which is going to bring more eyes to it? How much are you selling those spots for? So you're talking about more revenue. They're going to keep fighting for NFL games, right? I'm glad you brought up, because Adam Silver was saying this in one of his statements. He said, we gave the NFL Thanksgiving, and they usually let us have Christmas. But now they've come in and said, no, we're going to have Christmas too. right? Thanksgiving is ours and Christmas is ours too. And we already know how much the NFL dominates. But that ad revenue piece is very important. And we're just going to see that grow as more subscribers come in, more live events happen. There's going to be more ad space, which means more dollars. As more people move away from linear TV, you're going to see them start spending inside of streaming, specifically with Netflix. Disney will be in there as well as they try to figure out what they're going to do with ESPN and all those things. But the ad revenue is a place that they didn't have revenue coming in from before because it wasn't an ad revenue platform. Now we found new ways to make money, and they've cut costs on some of the things that they used to put out, right? Like you don't see as many Netflix original movies as they were doing maybe 2 to 3 years ago, because the amount of money it cost to put them out, plus what they were paying actors, right? That has come down. So you cut costs and take in revenue.
And then I don't know if you guys saw WWE shut down their streaming service. All of that content going back to the 1950s will now be uploaded on Netflix. So it's interesting that even as big as they are, they still find a niche audience to target and bring all that content over to. Vince McMahon didn't pay anybody, so there's no royalties that he owes to The Rock or Brian Pillman, God rest his soul. I'm like, this is clicking. And also on the ad revenue side, if they find a way to get more performances inside of these games and make bigger concerts out of them, now you're not just paying for one day. If they're restreaming, what is the back end on the ad revenue that they're going to get?
Right.
And don't let them pull that Trump card out, no pun intended, and get Beyonce and Taylor to do a concert together.
That's what I was saying. Who's going to be the next live concert? We've seen live comedy shows. We saw the roast with Kevin Hart, how well that did. Amazon did the Kendrick show, but who will be the next live show or the next live tour?
In Japan would be kind of crazy.
Maybe it's an Australian tour.
Kendrick killed my guy. He made my guy cut off the braids. I said, ooh, boy.
February 9th, Australia. Maybe.
Mustard.
So how you feel about Trump potentially acquiring a cryptocurrency exchange?
Man, I'm going to be real. If we go on old school business, 1980s, 1970s, and if crypto helped me win, it would be a very smart hedge for when he gets out of office. If he angles himself as a pro-crypto president, same with wrestling and other niche audiences, like he'll have a built-in, he already has one in MAGA for sure. But if he's going to treat crypto like digital real estate, it will be a well-played move on his end. I don't know which one he would acquire, but strategically from a business standpoint, it would be smart to do so since everyone is so pro-crypto. And the interesting part, even if the crypto community didn't like you, if you begin to like the assets they like, they love you. That's Trump's core marketing plan. Like, okay, I'm going to tap into an audience that are so fanatical, they'll get behind me. Well played.
Yeah, well played. And we've seen it work already. We've like True Social didn't exist 3 years ago.
At all.
Right. He ran off. He made $6 billion on that. Right. So if you're talking about a crypto community, he's been pro crypto. I'm sure tons of money will be poured into that just because of the support for him and the lead. I guess we can say a cult of people that follow and believe in his ideologies. They're gonna flock to this too. And even if a large amount doesn't, all you need is a few. Right. You get some big, you get some whales inside that space. And now all of a sudden it looks different. But this is a long-term play. I don't know if True Social lasts the test of time. It won't. I don't know if it's here in the next 5 to 10 years. But
I don't know.
The question is, will Bitcoin?
Well,
absolutely.
There you go.
He also announced some of the holdings that he has in crypto, Ethereum. Trump has over $1 million in Ethereum. Then he has WETH coin. He has Trump coin, obviously. He has TROG coin, GUA coin, USDC. So yeah, he announced over $5 million that he currently has in crypto amongst those coins alone. Yeah. So that's interesting to see that none of those coins are, other than Ethereum, are major coins.
Yeah.
On the market. I mean, USD is a stable coin. So, but outside of that, Ethereum. None of those coins are major coins. So, but that's some of his crypto holdings. So he's definitely pro crypto, and has championed it and has appointed people that are going to make it a lot easier for the deregulation and for cryptocurrency to thrive.
What happens if? I mean, I'm starting to think about who is the competitors in that space. American exchanges. You got Coinbase. You got Gemini. Who else? Robinhood. Right. What? I mean, is there a conflict of interest there if the Department of Justice starts investigating those companies as he purchases?
I got the House and the Senate, and when there's an economic tightness, no one gives a fuck about regulation.
Well,
I remember back in the day. Let's go to 2010. If you went on CNBC, you could not talk your portfolio openly.
Well, one of the things of Project 2025 is to actually take away the autonomous power of agencies like the Department of Justice and FBI, which essentially work outside the realm of the presidency. But that was one of the things actually inside the Project 2025, where they wanted to actually more centralize FBI and DOJ specifically to have it answer to the president and have the president have direct influence over those bodies. And the guy that wrote the
he just got a point, right?
Yeah. So
yo, you have the Department of Justice investigate Coinbase, investigate Gemini, investigate Robinhood, while you purchase exchange yourself. That hurts the competitors, but will help you in the standpoint.
That's the way business has always been done. Like, competitors used to poison other competitors' products in the open market in the 60s and 70s to bring up the value. If you look at American business historically, let's say prior to 1980, very grimy. All those players have not left. Is it right? Is it morally just? No. But no one remembers. Bill Gates, one of the richest men on earth, never built the initial frameworks for Microsoft. He illegally licensed them and built upon them. No one remembers who he stole that shit from in Albuquerque.
Allegedly.
Shout to William H.
Thank you.
Billy Bathgate. E-money bags.
E-money bags.
Yo, American business is wicked, man. I know it has this nice Disney veneer on top of it now, that everything is smooth. American business, and this is how it's always been done. Even, I love Fifth, and Fifth takes a lot of credit for the fall of Murder Inc. Oftentimes 50 leaves out that federal case. A lot of times legally, when these happen to XRP, a lot of coins floated up while they were having legal issues.
That's
You got to be mindful. Your enemies are going to find different ways to attack you that are not always head on. It's interesting that Dr. Zuck, he may have got inspiration from the Winklevi twins and then blocked them out of the industry in which they were catalyst in and made them go to a whole another space. The irony is the crypto thing worked for them, but remember when Meta tried to make that coin?
We forgot about it. He just swept that one right under.
You got to put them losses away. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, let's not even bring it up.
Well, that really wasn't a loss because the government went after that right away. So that failed before it started because of the government.
Yeah.
Government targeted that, and it never really even got a chance to. I don't think it ever became a product that was open to the public. The government, Department of Justice, was on that right away as soon as they announced it. So that's not as bad as the metaverse thing for them.
No. Yeah, they won't compare. But
that's
also,
like TikTok. They tried, and once the government was just on it. That's when he was in front of Congress every week at one point.
Did the Winklevi twins have anything to do with that?
Who knows? Apple might have had something to do with it. A variety of different people might have something. The banking sector. At one point in time,
the banks. Ooh,
everybody hated Zuckerberg at one time.
At one point, and he had to go start kissing the rings and learn to be a little bit more agreeable. It's working well now, but when he was going through that Cambridge Analytica, It's a rough little 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a rough. American business has always been treacherous. Dog, Bill Gates sent a fucking casket and wreath to the offices of Netscape, saying we're gonna give you 120 days before we kill you. What?
Yeah, they shut. It was Libra. I'm looking it up now. I can't remember the name. Libra.
Great idea.
Yeah, they shut it down and sold the project to Silvergate Bank in 2022.
That's crazy.
How much they spent? I wonder how much they spent.
Let's talk
Not
about
as much as the metaverse.
quantum computing.
Definitely not.
Quantum computing stocks.
Another great question, and I love this. But my thing is the thing that I've learned in business. If you study it long enough, the companies that are being talked about as being the leaders in quantum are too small to really have the lead. I like a couple of those companies, but the market caps are too little. The R&D department is too small. Usually when you have a big wave of innovation, like quantum probably will be the most important innovation in our lifetimes for sure. It's not going to be led by a small company. Same as I said with crypto. Like if crypto is this important, I said this 2 or 3 years ago, every company, every major bank is going to find a way to take it over if it's really that valuable. I don't think IONQ is going to lead the quantum revolution. If Google, I don't know who Google pissed off for them to make them want to spin off Chrome and a bunch of other assets, but y'all better go talk to the Department of Justice, whoever you need to, and maybe quantum can be your way back in to get the stock where it needs to be. But I think it's going to be a big 4, a big 5 player that ultimately ends up dominating quantum. Like, you think they're building all this infrastructure and moving Taiwan Semiconductor to Arizona to let a middle of the road publicly traded company dominate a sector that's the most important on earth?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, a middle tier company won't even be able to afford to do it. So
Absolutely.
it's going to have to be one of the mega companies to do it.
In tandem with some countries, right? Probably.
Right. How far away do you think we are in terms of quantum? Right. If right now we're talking about GPUs, like and energy data centers. How far away are we from
maybe
quantum,
10 years,
right?
At scale? Maybe 10. There's some companies now that are like vested. Don't get me wrong, but like at scale, probably 10 years.
It makes me think of sometimes when you're investing, are we too early? Right.
That's a great point.
If this is quantum, is it comparable to 2010 and now this company called Tesla has now IPO'd, but everybody's really not ready for EVs yet.
Yeah.
And in 2017, 2018, we start to see that uptick. We start to see this climb that now everybody knows Tesla to be. But for that 6-year span,
unless you were a diehard believer,
right. Similar.
You can be too early. You can be too now, unless you have some information that is maybe inside information, but is legal. Great. Maybe you work at the company and you know something that they have a partnership with Switzerland and China. Okay, maybe. And if you want to hold for a 6 or 7 year period, great. But yeah, I don't think a smaller company is going to lead this revolution. It's too important. Like, and it's going to change cybersecurity forever, like at scale, once these quantum computer companies finally come out. So
yeah, I would be looking at if we're too early, I would look around the infrastructure that is creating it. All right, so where is this happening? Where are they creating the infrastructure to build it? Who's involved in it? What energy is going to be needed to do it? Those are the things I would look at prior to saying like this is the company that's going to be the one that leads it.
Yeah. Microsoft to find a way to get their hands in it. They're doing a Michael Taylor too with OpenAI. They find a way to get their hands in the next big thing without investing all of their resources to have to build it, which is really smart.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be a big player in quantum as well too.
It's like Amazon's doing now. If you look,
absolutely,
another 4 billion inside Anthropic. Another, they just keep adding more money to it.
Yep. Yes, keep adding on to it, and also too, like I was talking about quantum a couple of years ago. Very promising, but when quantum takes off, you won't not be able to hear about it. 60 Minutes will talk about it. CNBC, MSNBC, us. Deadpool versus Wolverine 2 we'll talk about. Like, you won't be able to escape it. That's too early right now. That's too early.
And speaking about too early, do remember Market Mondays bundle, first time ever. This is our Black Friday offer that is open right now. 48 hours only. This includes something that we've never done before: lifetime access to Stock Club, lifetime access to EY University, lifetime access, VIP access to InvestFest, in-person mastermind with all of us in Atlanta, Georgia, with special guests. X will be in the building January 31st to February 1st. Small group, very hands-on learning, Q&A, fellowship. Never done a mastermind before, ever.
Yep.
And this is all bundled together. Limited time, limited amount of people. For sure. We have tickets to InvestFest, so there's only a limited amount of seats that we can actually bundle on this situation. MarketMondaysDeal.com. Very easy to remember. Market Mondays, like the show, deal.com. Once this goes away, once this actually fills up with the number, it's over. It's never coming back ever again. Never.
Y'all keep asking, when the next meetup? Voila.
Yep, for sure. We haven't done an in-person event in a year. Probably won't do one again for years to come. So first event for 2 years. Only mastermind ever. Networking soiree Friday, all day education Saturday. Very limited amount of people. So this is going to be like being in a classroom, pretty much.
Well,
it's gonna be a fun time. Gonna break down some stuff about LLMs, AI, trading, of course, how to integrate that in together. I may even talk about some dispersion models I've been working on and how to import data and then see where trades are being executed at. And so get your tickets. Don't miss out, because we're not doing the tour next year. Rashad just told for years to come. Maybe Mars. Elon, what's up, my boy? Hey, I told y'all last year's price, not this year's price. Tough.
Cooking.
It's tough. Gotta elevate.
All right. Crypto confidence versus banking sector trust.
Yeah. The thing that I keep stressing is, man, there are billions of dollars of losses on the books of banks. No one has still rung the alarm about it. Maybe the Department of Efficiency will do so next year. But I think we're at a very interesting inflection point where people trust, like the JP Morgan don't be mad, Bank of America don't be mad. But part of the reason why crypto took off so much is the trust in the banks are so low that people wanted an alternative currency to be able to look at. And I wonder, will they start to use crypto, the banks, at scale, start to use them as collateral to offset these big ass losses that they have in the medium-sized banks? Like, these banks have not recovered. Also, too, the erosion of California is pretty damn scary. No one's talking about that. We have a sector that is melted down in mid-sized banks. So I'm wondering, at some point, will they ask for a bailout, invest that money into crypto, and then offset or hide those losses going into 2027 by doing that? But I think we're definitely at an inflection point where the people as a mass are tired of being taken advantage of by financial institutions.
And what I said before also was to have 10% of your holdings in Bitcoin. That was something years ago.
Years ago.
In crypto. Yeah. So I still think that that's true. I think if you have a portfolio of investing, 10% should be in crypto. Now, if you want to do a little bit more, you can. But out of that 10%, 50% should be in Bitcoin, maybe a little bit higher. But and then the rest spread out amongst altcoins. So Bitcoin should not be equal to altcoin holdings. As far as, like, in my opinion, you shouldn't have the same amount of Bitcoin as you have Dogecoin. Like, you can have spread out across 4 different altcoins, but there's only one Bitcoin. So you gotta favor the winner in favor, the most stable and the surest bet in this situation. So,
and the most inflow from institutions.
Bitcoin for sure. Ethereum is a good second choice. Solana, Mike Novogratz talked about that. That's number 4 in market cap, which is really number 3 when you look at the coins, because USD is number 3. So Solana looks promising. Binance has always been there. That's a coin that actually, is tied to an exchange. And XRP, we've talked about that one. Dogecoin. I don't know about Doge. ADA, another one that we've talked about before. On the
Charles, you got to innovate faster. I love you, but you got to innovate faster.
Then you start just going down these, Tron and
rabbit hole, yeah.
Shiba Inu and all of these coins. Just you gotta be careful with those, man. But 10 and 50 will be a good strategy for you. And if you want to be a little bit even more risky, maybe you want to do 20% of your portfolio in crypto.
Long-term hold, yep.
But it got to be at least half of that has to be in Bitcoin. At least half of it has to be in Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin is the original fractional share, right? Somebody was like, "Do I need 100,000?" No. At that point, you're buying fractions of a Bitcoin. If you have 100,000 and obviously you purchased it, yes, you would own a Bitcoin, but you don't have to own a Bitcoin. You can have fractions of a Bitcoin. And so at that point, you're really looking at percentages, right? So if you're seeing percentage growth, if I started with 10,000, where can that 10,000 grow to as Bitcoin grows? So that's how you got to kind of look at it.
Yeah, I saw a video on Twitter of a guy who bought $30 a day for years. I think he ended up putting like 87,000 in. It ended up being like 1.1 million in terms of return. So same thing, dollar cost average. That's what I'm saying. Like the same lessons apply to every asset class. Just hold for a long period of time. Invest if you have conviction in a stock or asset. Hold it for a long period of time. I don't know anybody that's held Bitcoin for a year and they were like, damn, I got the maximum gain versus holding for 4 years. Highest return on asset on the planet, if you're talking long term. Rinse and repeat, man. A lot of investing is just stopping the questions that are causing you to not execute. What platform? Well, what about a Bitcoin derivative? What about bro? All the information is there. Same with stocks. Same with Nvidia. Same with Apple. Same with Microsoft, AMD. But yeah, and going into this 5th year, we are going to elevate though. If you miss out on the mastermind, that's on you. But I promise you, we're taking this thing to a higher level. Please don't miss out. Every country on earth, we came out and told you the assets to invest in, and we've seen the companies actually buy this shit in front of your eyes. Please don't miss out.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the percentage gain of Bitcoin since its inception. I can't even read the percentage. What it is.
It's insane.
It's
what products does MicroStrategy sell outside of acquisition of Bitcoin? Everybody put it in chat. To tell you how it's a genius play. But if companies are leaning on hoarding assets, including BlackRock, does not tell you that should traditionally be a hedge? Your CapEx should not be another person's product. If you have a company. Amazing hedge though. Y'all go give Kathy her credit though. Her issue was, shout to her and everybody at ARK, too many funds and too much trading. Mike held his positions. Imagine if Kathy would have just held all of her Tesla, all of her Nvidia. I tried to have a conversation with her after InvestFest, all of her Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The power of holding.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little bit more than 10%. Maybe you want to do 20%. 20%. But 10. Yeah. But out of that 20%, 10% has to be in Bitcoin.
Don't my boy Crispin on Twitter put all of it in. I'm like, yeah, that's my dog. Man, once you have conviction in the asset, go on it. You guys have done it with media. Like the lessons are there. You guys have seen us build business in front of you. You've seen the thesis play out. Great. Hold for the long term. You may not like my 40% number, What percentage is Michael putting in the Bitcoin of his company? Take me out of it. Maybe I don't meet the threshold that you need for financial freedom, even though I'm free. Let's go to Michael. How much of Bitcoin is he putting into his company? What percentage revenue?
And then leveraging as their price appreciation goes
Like
up.
crazy.
But you still have to follow the same principles. Don't buy at all-time highs.
Facts.
Dollar cost average. Vitally important. Buy the top ones. Don't just go searching down to no-name coins because
Walton Chain Coin.
Yeah.
be careful. Be careful.
Come Rocket, not a good one. Leave it alone. Stop.
hold for long term.
Yes.
Same rules apply here.
Hey Kendrick, since you stomping on my boy, you whooping feet. Can you put out your next project as an NFT? So if we buy some NFTs, it won't be of monkeys with apes with chains on with Nazi flags on their face.
Mustard.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, we will be having blackout this week.
Somebody got to do it.
We'll be having blackout this week at 10 o'clock. That's right before Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving Eve will be coming out with blackout. No earlier leisure this week. Thursday's Thanksgiving. So watch previous episodes. Watch Market Mondays. Watch blackout. Watch James Harden's interview.
Shout out to everybody that tapped into that.
Watch the ASAP Ferg.
That's a
conversation with
Keys and Ferg.
Yep. That's a great one.
Salute to Ferg. Very, very vulnerable in his delivery.
I know, incredibly honest.
Yeah, I think that I appreciate that the most when you actually watch somebody mature and grow in front of the camera.
Yeah,
to be that honest, to understand your flaws, to speak about it publicly. Shout out to Ferg. Keys. Shout out to Keys too. Shout out to Metchy, the whole team. Well done. Another amazing episode. Go check that out.
Going back to Jay calling James. Hey, I got some power relationships. Yo. I know you can't graph it on the chart. Some of the everybody I see crash out and lose friends and partnerships. I see that revenue go every time.
Got an opportunity for you.
Every time. Gotta hold on to the relationships, man. Unless it's a bad relationship, then. But even in that, amicably and calmly in that. Some of y'all be crashing out and they gotta go crash and go get Dunkin' Donuts every day.
Yeah. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Kendrick. If you listen to the Hard Part 6, the last verse is exactly that. They didn't see eye to eye, him and TDE, specifically Top at the time, rather than making it let me have this conversation in private. So we don't lose the legacy. Growth.
Top ain't really a person you can crash out on either.
You gotta go back.
Would not be wise, yo. Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout out to the real ones who act like they're not the real. Ooh, boy. Yeah, DJ Head, please call off the arms against Drake. Y'all made y'all point. He put that shit out on the day Kennedy got shot. I said, bruh.
Was that the science behind that?
Oh, we just 22. Yeah.
I didn't see that theory yet. Okay, thank you.
Kendrick diabolical, man.
Oh man.
What's your biggest investment lesson of the year?
Stay low, keep firing.
Or for those who don't know what that means, can you tell
what it means is block out the noise, block out distractions, double down on your research, double down on your strategy, double down on your plan, and execute. I think the most important thing, again, is the execution, right? Like we could tell you what to do, or you could say, hey, they've given us so much information, I can actually create my own plan and I'm going to execute. We're not here to boast, not here to brag. Just get the job done, because at the end of the day, it's going to help you and your family, which is the most important thing. And then when you do it, I'd say there's nothing like, and Ian and Charlie, you can attest to it too, there's nothing like somebody coming up, showing us a portfolio, saying, look, I listen to y'all and look what I've done. Like, that's the reward every time. So stay low, keep firing, execute, keep retaining information, and keep sharing information once you have some good stuff.
Yeah. Rashad, what about you?
You just got to keep your composure. And no matter what, you just got to, LeBron, I seen the kid Dior. I think he goes to Central Florida. And he was saying that him and Mikey's on the same team. And he was saying that he used to live with LeBron. I'm not sure how that happened, but he said he lived with LeBron. And he was like, they was like, what did you pick up from living with LeBron? He was like, he did the same thing every single day. He was like, every day did the same thing every single day, and just like very, you know, mundane. And I think that that's something that, you know, success is definitely boring, and you gotta have the control. Because me personally, I had bad luck. You know, like I got robbed from my crypto account. I had COVID, and I mean that was that was over $100,000 during COVID. So we see the crypto run now. You know, that's a lot of money, right? That's at least a 4x return. Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, people know about my real estate debacle. It's just by happenstance. I just happened to purchase a home on the wrong side of the street. But what can you do? Nobody's going to feel sorry for you, so you can't feel sorry for yourself. So the key to life is not get too high in good times and not get too low on bad times, because you're going to have issues. You're going to have problems. Everybody has problems in life. And, you know, when you get real emotional in investing, then it's going to hurt you. And like I said, there's no sympathy for a winner. Or a loser. Or a loser. There's no sympathy for a winner or the loser, because nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to understand that and just approach life and approach business and investing at a very even keel. You won't be disappointed, because people are going to disappoint you, because, you know, that's just human nature. People disappoint people all the time, but you only get disappointed if you put, you know, expectations on people, and if you put expectations on what to expect. So it's like, I'm gonna expect to double my money, and then something doesn't happen, then you feel disappointed. If you look at it like, yo, man, you know, I made an educated decision, whatever happens, you know, I'm comfortable with it.
It comes with it, yeah.
Safeguarded everything, you know, took a defensive approach, you know, was very paranoid. You got to stay paranoid. Because like what you said,
they kill me for that take, but man, the paranoid stay alive, right?
No, what you said was vitally important. Is that everybody's going to try to take something from you. I forgot how you worded it, but you was like everybody's goal is to take. Once you have something, everybody's goal is to take it from you. Yep. So that's relationships. That's people that, you know, just try to get a come up. That's the government. That's, you know, everybody's going to try to swindle you out of your situation, and you gotta stay on top. Like, you gotta look at things and check things
and assess,
because you never know. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of times you don't realize what's happening until it's over, and that's how Fat Joe ended up going to jail, right? Like, you know, this is somebody who's in the street his whole life and never went to jail, and then goes to jail for tax evasion because his accountant was robbing him. So more money, more problems, like Big said.
Yep.
That's just the life. Like, you know what I mean? Can't escape it.
It's tough, man. But what a wonderful blessing too. It's a conversation I was having with my mom the other day. I'm like, setting expectations for or having them is a mistake. And some can be like, well, you shouldn't think about it that way. This is our lived experience of interacting with hundreds of thousands of people. Like, I can count on two hands the number of people that are incredibly reliable and filled with integrity. But for me, nobody has to believe in your thesis but you. The one thing I do like about Michael is when it's time for him to buy, and when he had that drawdown, he shut up and kept buying.
Stay low.
Talk about 2-Tex and stay low, keep firing. Talk about 2-Tex, 2 index. It's even gotten to the point now, even in Red Panda, I won't even talk about trade no more. Like, why? Because a lot of times, and I know you guys have seen that, you're like, you know, the guy who want to talk about hooping all day isn't the guy who get on the court and really kill. Like, oh, you want to talk to me about every play and Kyrie shot over Curry and when I ran flex in AAU in 11th grade, and then it's like 4 points a game. Versus the dude that's another dude. You get on the court, Tim's on, bust your ass in jeans, 22 a night. Man, be the person who just execute. We're 5 years in. If you haven't made money by now, lo siento, please forgive me, but it's on you. We've given too much. Yeah, Kathy Woods on stage with Mike Novogratz, and then Mike came back and solidified the call 3 years ago, and then came back and tell y'all Solana like, well, he's a shill. He's a billion. Y'all mispronounced billionaire. What? Like most, and our second biggest lesson, talking is literally a liability to the growth of your company. You're not seeing billionaires even talk right now. They're shutting clean the fuck up. They talk amongst themselves publicly.
Secret society, man.
All we ask is trust. For real. It is quiet. I ain't seen Larry Ellison fight on Twitter with nobody. Jamie Dimon fight with
haven't seen Larry Ellison speak.
Quiet. Royal Saudi family. I won't see them say nothing about the economy. They just building and building and building, acquiring asses like crazy.
Yeah, every time you look, he's moving up in that top 10 wealthiest people on the planet.
Man.
For a company that nobody's saying, hey, that's what I'm investing in Oracle.
Saudi Aramco is like on the edge of being number one worldwide, and no one knows anything. Okay, cool.
There you have it.
What do I know?
Yeah,
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Short week in the market. Just really quick. Earnings tomorrow for Dell. I know we spoke about it in the class on Thursday. Shout out to everybody that pulled up to that. Spoke about it on Market Mondays last week when we were talking about the semiconductors and what would happen if NVIDIA reported. And obviously we saw NVIDIA report. Profits have been taken. Everybody just relax, calm down. It had a ridiculous quarter. Everybody can.
Like,
I know.
Would you want a company to make $200 billion a quarter? Like
35 billion is not great. I get it. 87% growth isn't okay. We get it. It's not 111.
I had that conversation in Stock Club. I'm like, even if you're up 38% long term, y'all know the baseline is 7 to 12%. We can't expect a company to give 150% growth quarter over quarter, but it goes to show if we need NVIDIA, and I told my mom this last night, if we need NVIDIA to grow at 120% per quarter and the GDP is still at 5, how fucked are we right now?
But
I've never in history seen the entire economy lean on a company needing to grow 100% quarter over quarter.
Yeah. Well, today is one of those things, right, where that market has actually grown and NVIDIA has pulled back a little bit. So, I mean, it's 7% of the S&P, which is 7%, which is crazy. But short week again. Supermicro. We talked about the call that NVIDIA had and whether Jensen would say something negative or disparaging about their relationship. He didn't. Yeah. We saw some increase in Supermicro. So watch out for Supermicro. Watch out for Dell. We'll put this inside of the chat for sure in EYLU. Definitely.
Also, if y'all get the bundle for the Market Mondays Mastermind, you go to the inauguration with us with Trump. Then
added feature. Added feature.
The MAGA Mastermind. These jokes. I'm kidding. Crazy. Woo, we still got like a sore thumb.
All right, folks, there you have it. MarketMondaysDeal.com. Also, we are doing a sale on merch. So if you're interested in buying a hoodie, t-shirt, some merch, go to the earnyourleisure.com and I think the code is Friday. If you want to
50% off. Hey.
Yeah, the Friday merch bundle for that. Yeah. But we will see you guys on Wednesday.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, pre-Thanksgiving blackout. I'm sure we'll have some very spicy conversations, some interesting stuff that you could debate over turkey the next day.
Oh, fellas, she'll make your plate. We'll talk about it on.
Yeah, yo, if you don't, are you bringing to Thanksgiving dinner?
Am I?
Well, I'm not saying you. Hypothetically.
Oh, okay.
That's a sign.
Yeah, if you don't get brought Thanksgiving dinner, yo, it's a wrap.
Shout
out to everybody who left theirs before Thanksgiving and Christmas.
But what if she don't cook? I'm interested. What if she doesn't cook? Could she? I mean, she's coming over. She doesn't bring anything. Are these signs?
Gotta go. Wrap it up.
Damn.
Yeah. What you bringing to the table more than your appetite? And then you know what I mean. Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. You don't cook or nothing. You can't bring a Kroger cake by nothing. They always want to find a way to bring something by. Go to Ralph's or something.
Mr.
Damn.
Smith apple pie, at least, please. The crumb topping.
Fellas, she'll make your plate first.
No, these are things
These
to
are
look
big
at.
signs,
these are
bro.
things. These are things.
That's a fact.
These are things.
That's a fact.
And for y'all like y'all misogynist and all that, yo, I'm too rich to hear any of that bullshit. I'm gonna be 1,000.
I done catered this damn meal.
What? What? If I got the little chef to bring the shit in, the least you can do is scoop some shit up and put it on the plate, or I can swap you out.
Oh man,
GM of the year, motherfucker. Boy, I'll swap shit out like a SIM card. Your choice.
You ain't gonna make it to Christmas.
I'm saying, little friends, you were telling how good it was to be right up there putting on macaroni on the plate. What do I know? These are jokes, by the way. Shout out to my baby, all of y'all.
I pray you all make it. I pray you all have a happy
Christmas bundle. I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Oh man.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Love.